talk about free SHS. Okay, now the free SHS policy, EduWatch is making some comments here. It's a story on citinewsroom.com. We have EduWatch scolds government over debt owed uniform and food suppliers. And it says here, the Africa Education Watch says the continuous demand for arrears by the National Association of Institutional Suppliers and National Food Suppliers is a clear indication that the government is unable to effectively run the free SHS policy. This follows a 2-week ultimatum issued by the government by the National Association of Institutional Suppliers to pay monies owed them since last year. The group is in charge of the production and supply of school uniforms to students in public schools. Speaking to Citi News, the executive director of Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, says it will be prudent for the government to review the FSHS policy immediately. It says here, even though we are still in the COVID crisis, the issue of school uniforms and food supply is simply a matter of the government's inability to finance their free SHS program effectively and fully. I say this because in the past 6 years, the government has barely released 65% of the allocated funds for the FSHS program by the end of the year. Now, so if you have a program where disbursement is averaging 60% every year for the past 6 years, you are obviously going to run into such levels of debt. Asari also called on the government to pay monies owed to the National Association of Institutional Suppliers and cancel the uniform contract. Now, let me start with you, Issa, on this one.
Well, free SHS. Free SHS is some policy that the government and to the very, very large extent, the president believes in holistically.
Yeah.
And he thinks that, and I agree totally with him, that for a nation to be able to make strides in its developmental agenda, the people need to be carried along. And research shows around the world that enlightening people, educating people, is one of the strongest pillars you can use to develop. And that one, we are not going to check on it. Currently, we have about 1.5 million students on the scheme. And I'm saying that, look, from when I was in school, when I was in secondary school, the difference is very clear. I went to, one of the greatest schools ever, Presby Boys Secondary, Lagos. At the time, 1 to 5, you saw that there was a class of people. But in 6th form, where we had bursaries, you saw that people from all over Ghana were able to come because in 6th form there was bursary to support them, and that's very evident. So a lot of people from everywhere else came in for 6th form, but 1 to 5 was kind of preserved. And it's very obvious that Ghanaians have benefited from this policy. No policy starts and gets 100% on. When you say 65% of budget is being met, yes, the difference is that, look, our budget is bottom up. The schools tell you what they need, and it gets to up there where we get resource allocation. And so in between there, the guy who is responsible for allocating resource will want to have some efficiencies in the system. So the fact that what you required or what you demanded at the very basic level of the budgeting system is not met 100%, does not necessarily mean that there are inefficiencies in the system. But the guy who does the resource allocation has to ensure efficiency and effectiveness in the system. So it is his role. So some of the stats, I'm not too.
Are you saying there is no inefficiency?
No, that's not necessarily. I said no. The guy who does the resource allocation has to ensure that there's efficiency in the system. So the fact that it's not giving 100% does not mean that there are shortfalls. Look, this is a system where, like you said, uniform supplies and all of that. The free SHS has been running since 2017. Why we have not had all of this over time, and these things are just coming up. I tell you, within the system, I was privileged enough at a point in time to be sitting on a board of one of the schools, a very prominent school here. And I tell you, within the system, there are bottlenecks, there are challenges. There are challenges, and it's been very obvious that I'm privy to. That sometimes, look, suppliers, they could go to the school, rather than supply 10 bags of rice, they could go collude with somebody else. It's all in the system. And we got the instance of the food suppliers when they picketed at the buffer stock. When the minister went there, he said, look, we are going to review, we are going to audit some of your supplies, and those who are due, we will pay them. Those who are not, certainly, I mean, so these are processes that will go on. I don't know, in fact, I'm just hearing about these uniform supplies. But similarly, I am sure that because we have to ensure that there's efficiency in the system, and some of these processes will take long. But then again, this is a continuing program. It's not something that is going to be curtailed. It's not, we believe, we have holistic and totally believe that the young people of this country also deserve to have the right to be in school for as long as they want to. And so we'll be going on. I mean, these are things that will come up. But as of when it comes up, we'll find a way to resolve it, because the free SHS system there, we are not going to renege on it.
Let me tell you, you see, this free HS thing is the pampered baby of the president. There is no way this will be reviewed. He said it clearly that it will not be reviewed, it will not be cancelled. So any suggestion,
can I just give you
anything we are making?
In the 2023 budget, if you have read it, there's a statement in there that as a government, we're going to review our flagship policies, and that includes the flagship.
Yes.
So don't say that it's not for review.
He said
every flagship policy of the government.
Let me, yes. You see, and he said that this free HSS, it is his pampered baby. There is no way the current president will want anything to be done about this free HSS. When they even talked about review, he said it means cancellation. When everybody, even his own party people, when they talk about review, you would see the reaction. It's just like, let me illustrate it. If I said a pampered baby, it's just like, you see, when the president got angry, when they were singing the national anthem, a chief sat down. You saw the daughter.
I know where you're going with this.
When the daughter, they were singing national anthem, she was on phone. The president couldn't see that. It's the same as the free HSS. He doesn't see anything wrong that it has to be reviewed. So if there will have to be any review, the bottlenecks people are talking about within his party, within our party, the CSOs, everybody is talking about won't happen under him. I'm sure in the next 16 months, when he's no more, that we can start have conversation on the review of the free HSS policy. Nobody is saying that it's a wrong policy.
Are you going to cancel it?
We will review it. Nobody is saying that it is a wrong policy. It will be reviewed. Yes, I have cousins, I have nephews, I have nieces. They have benefited from it. They are happy. But you see, the flip side of it is that every month I have to send money to some of my cousins, some of my nephews to buy provision because they don't have
can you imagine if you also had to pay school fees at this time?
It would have been even better because the kind of provisions you have to buy. If I had paid school fees, it would have been better. Because you always
so
have
that
to
they will be taken care of.
Yes, they will be taken care of. Because that will be volumes. And if you pay the volumes, now you are doing it individually. Every day, you have to, almost every month, you have to send food. You have to send provision. So when it comes to free HSS, I think that what we could do as citizens is to look at the bottlenecks, look at the inefficiencies, package it, put it down. When we see the president's back, he's off. I'm sure we can start a conversation.
You see, then this is
no, we can see a conversation. No, we have alternative plans.
You are not telling anybody. What do you
it will come in our manifesto. It will come in the manifesto.
Today is not the day to discuss alternatives.
It's been prepared.
It's been prepared. So it means that you have no stance at this time. The NDC has no stance on free SHS at this time.
Who says so? We have said
but all you say is review. What is review? To what extent do you mean review? Tell the good people of Ghana. We have 18 months to the next election.
But we had started the e-blocks. We started this.
How many of them did you build?
Wait.
How many of the e-blocks did you build? 29.
29?
29. No, that is what you did.
How many did we start? How many
you
was
built
completed?
29.
If we are
I'm telling you that you built 29.
What was completed was 29.
29.
What we started was over 100.
Started.
Yes.
What do you mean start?
It was not completed. We started.
You built 29. We have built more of the e-blocks than you yourself.
So you see,
we have built more of the e-blocks than you yourself.
When it comes to the free HSS, everybody is livid about that. It is bringing untold hardship on us, this economy. Why is it that
is not.
people who even owe, government owes, the uniform contractors. These people cannot even go to court to say that we want our money. Everybody is picketing because citizens are losing faith that when it is a case against government in court, forget about it.
Oh, you're a lawyer. Oh.
I'm telling you,
that?
why would the former Chief Justice will even go and picket when the bond, they know that it's a contract. I can send it to court to be paid. Why is it that the bond holders?
You are an officer of the court too. I don't know. You are an officer of the court. I am not.
That when it's
so
a
don't
case,
bastardize a system
I'm
that
telling you,
you
when
have to
it's a case, when it's a case against government,
don't.
Are you getting it?
You are an officer of the court, right?
Talking about the selective way of doing things, right? So they prefer that when we picket and when we come demonstration, the public opinion that will come against government will bear on them, will make us have our money. That's why you have seen series.
I don't think that's the democracy we are subscribing to.
No, because
that's not it.
You're not
we have to go to court. I will take you to court if I have an issue.
I can tell you that there are cases that we have taken against court. If individual, when you have your individual case, land and others, you will see it go smoothly. Have a case against government, take it to court, and see, because it's the court that manages the case. They decide when to call it. Are you getting it? You cannot go and force it. Why? That's why I'm saying that. Why would somebody have a contract on bond and decide that, look, even when I go there, it will take me years. But when I picket, when I'm always here, they will be forced to pay me. And that is the trend we are seeing.
That's a dangerous trend. Today, when you're in opposition, you can be supporting that trend.
No,
but that trend is a dangerous one. You see, let me just make
I want us to go back.
Not too long ago.
No, hold on.
Not too long ago. No, we started experiencing issues like hooting at politicians. But when same was done on the NDC, at certain points, you see that it's gone. These are not things that we should support. These are not right. You are not part of the court. I would urge any Ghanaian who has issues with whether another person, whether government, to resort to the court rather than the court of public opinion.
When is government going to finish paying all the people that it owes as far as this SHS, free SHS system is concerned?
Oh, Kwaku David, unfortunately, I won't be able, but like the Minister of Agri said when he met those picketing at the buffer stop, he gave them a definite date of 17th July. From what I hear, the bit that has been audited, I mean, some releases have been made. I think from yesterday they started getting their checks.
The payments today, and then he said 30 days after.
Okay, so some of these things, they will crop up. We are running a whole economy. It's a very huge thing to do. So as and when...
But then there's also the stories of people being replaced, it's like new vendors.
The problem, I have been on a program with a PRO of the food supply. But you see, the reality is that we have run a system over time through the buffer stock. And truly, from what I gather, there were bottlenecks. Like I told you, there were over-invoicing. Sometimes the right quality of food was not supplied. Sometimes the quantity people colluded. And so when you run a system over time, and you recognize that there are bottlenecks, there are challenges with it, it is for you to upgrade it, be able to resolve whatever challenges you have with the system. If not, you'll have to upgrade and go to another system. Try systems until you get a system that is robust enough to meet the needs or the objects that you set yourself. So it is a case that if we are having issues supplying through buffer stock, nothing precludes the managers of the system to also try another system which may prove to be more efficient, get the food at more relative prices, ensure that over and under invoices and all of that are taken care of. So there is nothing wrong with the managers of the free SHS system bringing a new or even instituting a new system to ensure that the kids in school get food. I don't see anything wrong. You just have to be competitive. If you are competitive enough, it is open to all Ghanaians, and then you can get in there and finish up.
Okay. Final thoughts?
I think that on this current trend we are seeing, it is because of the position government has adopted that if you don't shout, if you don't picket, you won't get your money paid to you, which is a sad indictment on us. Democracy shouldn't be like that. You should know your obligation. And I think that it is high time we start.
Well, maybe
engaging
somebody will
the
say that
people.
it's an aspect of democracy anyway, you know, where you get to
So
voice.
then that means don't complain. Don't complain when the people are on the street or the people are picketing. Don't complain.
I don't think anybody's
Oh
complaining.
no, why? Didn't you see the Minister of Agri, Brian Champon, when the minority, the people went there to go and give food to the people? He was saying, why should you be here?
No.
Are you getting it?
No.
If that is the way
What
you
has
choose,
happened?
that's the route you want to go. But I think that I'm not too old, but I've seen successive governments that have been there. When there's issue, mostly people will go to court and garnish even the account of government. But it is difficult these days to get that done.
You are bastardizing the court again.
I'm not bastardizing. I'm
I'm
practicing the court. What am I
Yes, you are an officer of
bastardizing?
the
I'm
court.
practicing
And you are
court.
saying that people
And
don't
I'm
go to
telling
the
you
court and they
what's
don't get
happening.
justice.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
No,
Is that what
believe-
saying?
No, but that's
I
what
didn't
he
say.
said. But that's
I
what
said
he
the
said.
delay.
He
The
didn't say
delay.
that.
The delay is that justice delayed is justice denied.
You see, this is what they do.
Justice denied.
Okay, guys.
All
right.
Because they don't
This
believe.
is what they do. This is what they do.
we
That's
have-
why I'm reminding you that.
Always stand
That
by
is why
what
I am
say.
reminding you
No,
that
I
you are
choose-
an officer of the
I
court.
choose my words carefully.
we will have other opportunities to have
That's why I'm
we
reminding
have
you
other
that you are an
opportunities to
officer
have
of
I
the
think
court.
for me, like he said, the cohesion of it is the political parties that produces leadership for the state that become. So at the end of the day, let's look at the quality, the kind of people who will come and lead the state. Garbage in, garbage out.
All right.
If we
Thank
think
you.
it is about money and all the time, I think that we'll get to a point we will not even have the very refined and people who will want to get in there, because getting in there sometimes is not an easy thing.
murky.
Because he's
All
been
right.
to a couple of
Okay,
primaries,
so
he
I
understands.
want to say a big thank you to Victor Adawudu, who just finished speaking. He's a member
Left
of
my
the
name Kojoga.
Kojoga.
That gives me a
Yes.
The big Kojo is
Victor
that.
Kojoga Adawudu. He's a member of the NDC Legal and Communications team, as well as Isaf Hussaini, who's former MP of the
Former
Okai.
and incoming.
Former MP and
Incoming
supposedly incoming
No, supposedly.
member
I don't like that
of Okai North.